All right, guys, we're live for the 51st installment of the Playing to Win series, and I'm joined today by none other Grego Gallagher from the Kinobody brand. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How are you?
We're good. We're good here. I always like to chop it up with guys before I do one of these, and this is the first time we've actually connected. We had like 30 seconds before I hit the live button, but I watched a few interesting interviews that you did in the last year. One on Pillow Talks. We're going to be talking about the ladies, if you're ready for some of that shit.
Sure.
And I want to talk about business and how you built your brand, and basically the whole premise and theme around the playlist is how guys are playing to win in life, because there's two ways. There's two distinct ways that I see men usually playing. It's either playing to win or playing not to lose. And I just want to get some clarity out there for guys watching. This is the sort of stuff that we're going to head on. We're going to dive down a rabbit hole on Greg and what he's done with his life, because it's pretty extraordinary. I mean, there's a lot of dudes out there that hit me up that are younger, they're 20, they're 19, and that's when you got started, building your Kinobody brand and what you did for yourself. And I think you're about 30 now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, 30.
Yeah, and if memory serves, you hit your first million around the age of 24. You started around 19.
Yeah, yeah. 24 was when I banked first mill after tax.
All right, and you're in Toronto, so you're a local guy. Haven't had the pleasure of running into you yet IRL, but how did you get started with self care and monetizing taking your shirt off? I suppose is the best way to summarize it.
The thing that kind of stayed is that I had a passion for fitness at a really, really young age. Like literally 13, I was already obsessed with the idea of working out, building muscle, doing push-ups, lifting weights. And so throughout my entire teenage years, working out was my passion and something I was really, really obsessed with. And I'd read all kinds of content. And so that actually helped me. It wasn't just oh, I'm 18 or 19 now. I got into fitness last year and now I want to monetize it. This was something that was that I was always very into. And so at 19 years old, I felt very disenfranchised from university, from going to school, doing a program for 4 years, working up the corporate ladder. I wanted to kind of build my own thing. And the idea of building a business around fitness was the dream. I was like, this is I love fitness. This isn't even a job. This is what I really want to do. And I started personal training, but it didn't see personal training clients every day was not fulfilling to me. I didn't see really the big picture there. And I remember getting my first mentor, a guy named Rusty Moore, and he was building a fitness blog that was getting, hundreds of thousands of visits a month. And he was an affiliate marketer. And he was actually, building a six-figure income with his blog. And then that really sparked my interest. I was like, I could do this. I could create content on fitness and build traffic, build an email list, and then start to, promote different programs or build my own. And that's at 19, that's when I started Kinobody. And I never went back from there.
Why did fitness fascinate you? Why all the push-ups and the working out and the obsession with it?
I remember growing up, kind of watching movies with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, Van Damme. And I kind of saw these characters that were strong and powerful. And I wanted that, I think as a kid, I felt a little small and I wanted, I just in my blood, I just wanted to be strong and powerful. I didn't want anyone to mess with me. So I think the initial driver of fitness was more so I could handle myself, so I could protect myself, so I could defend myself, so no one could even bully me. And it was never about impressing girls. The driver was kind of to feel like that role model that I was seeing in that movie.
Did you get bullied as a kid? Did you feel
nothing crazy, but just kind of a little bit, just just a little bit. And it I just remember just the feeling of it. Just never want to feel like that. I think some people can get bullied and they let it. For me, it's I have a chip on my shoulder with that. So I a little bullying. I'm fuck it. I'm gonna go train. I'm gonna do whatever I have to do. I don't want to be in that position.
Yeah, I think Schwarzenegger was what flipped the switch for me when I saw him in Conan. I was like, whoa, that's that's pretty impressive, right? It's like no homo. It was just like straight up. How can somebody look like that and everybody else looks like that? And this guy's able to command that level of presence. I remember when it was probably around the same age as you, and I was like a little bit of a, well, I wasn't a little bit, I was actually a really scrawny kid because I think around 12 or 13, I was about 6 foot, 6'1", and I was maybe like 130 pounds. And my dad gave me this uh, mail order, basically a pamphlet from when he got it when he was in the Royal Air Force, and it was done by this guy called Charles Atlas. I don't know if you know about that program.
Yeah, no, Charles, he was one of the like early kind of fitness figures, and
yeah, like one of the originals, right? Like the OG. And it's like, it was a program called Dynamic Tensions, and it was like, push-ups and chin-ups, and if you wanted to build your chest, you'd like, put your hands in like this, or if you wanted to build your biceps, you'd go like this, right, and do like a curl. And it was a really interesting program, but it was just like, I just went all in with it too, man. It was fitness has always fascinated me. Like one of the reasons why I follow Greg, guys, is I think I came across your stuff maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, and I saw this guy that was younger than me with a really good physique that was out there doing the work, getting really good reach and views on YouTube and Instagram. And then he started putting out these programs, and I always found like the stuff that you were putting out was entertaining too. Like it wasn't just educational. There was a level of like, there's a couple of produced videos that you did. Bruce Wayne one. There was another one, like American Psycho, I think.
Yeah.
Right. Really, really good stuff. Like, in fact, if you search for Greg's name on Google, you actually come up as a filmmaker.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I did a little executive producing in a film or two, and so like I got on IMDb and all that stuff. But nothing. I haven't done anything like big there yet.
So a lot of guys look at dudes like you and they're like, oh, he's an overnight success, he got lucky, or they'll chalk it up as well, he inherited all of his money from his dad, because I know that your dad passed when you were younger and he had a real estate portfolio. You didn't really have an interest in real estate from what I understood. And actually, one of the things I wanted to ask you about, because there was a note somewhere that I saw that you went to university and you basically dropped out because you saw the marketing strategies that they were teaching you was garbage or not useful in the real world. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, I was on the fence about going to university to begin with. I wasn't sure if it was even what I wanted to do. I got sucked up into the moment with all my friends applying and all that. And I went to school and I just kind of remember sitting in class and just trying to figure out the ROI. Like I'm sitting in class and I would say 10% or 15% of the time, I'm like, okay, maybe there's utility to this. And then at least 80%, I was like, this is not going to help me. This is not going to serve me in life. This is not going to help me build a business, make money, become successful. And so I'm just like, why am I pouring in 4 years of my life for something that's not directly going to help get me to my goal? And I remember one of the computer classes that we're learning this outdated website development that was pretty much obsolete at the time. And I'm like, this is so dumb. This is a complete waste of time. And I'm in class. I'm looking in the auditorium, okay, at university. You got 150 people in an auditorium. Everyone's coughing. They're coughing every 3 seconds. And I have misophonia. That stuff will annoy me. So I'm listening to all these people. They're sick. They're coughing. They're drinking all the time. They're playing Farmville on the computer. And I'm like, is this where I'm going to learn to become a multimillionaire? And I'm like, this is garbage. And then I pretty much checked out for the rest of the year and just kind of did my own sort of self-study and kind of went through the motions and kind of got the different gears kind of moving. And I think a lot of people get swept up in the idea that they have to go to school, even though it's kind of in vogue to tell you don't have to go to school. They just can't handle the pressure of their friends or family or peers basically kind of telling them, hey, you need that degree. For me, it's like, man, life is short. We have one life. I am not in a million years going to give away 4 years of my life just to appease someone close to me. No, I'm going to do what I want to do. And, I always had that self-belief that was kind of built and sharpened from training that, hey, if I want something and if I set a goal and I'm willing to work for it, I will achieve that goal. It might not be easy. It might not happen in one straight shot, but I will figure it out and I will get what I want. And that sort of self-belief you need to have if you're going to start a business or kind of go against the grain.
You must have got some heat from family for dropping out of university. How did that go down?
Yeah, I definitely got some heat for the first couple years. And it was kind of, I think like the idea kind of what I put out, I was like, hey, look, I'm gonna take a year or two to figure this out. And like I can always go back to school. And I knew in my head, I'm not gonna go back to school. But yeah, there was a lot of flack from friends, from family, from my family friends saying like, you're making a colossal mistake. Everyone thinks they can go and start a online business and make money. It's not gonna happen. Or, you're gonna end up being a personal trainer and you came from this very, very successful family. You're not gonna be satisfied on a personal training salary. And like deep down, I'm like, this is my life. I want to do what fulfills me. We're gonna spend literally 60-70% of our life in our career, in our job. So if you don't like it, you're throwing your life away. And I didn't even set out, like my goal when I got into the fitness online stuff, my goal was, I didn't care to like necessarily make tons and tons of money. I just wanted to do what I loved and have freedom, freedom to kind of work where I want, freedom to run my business how I want. And my initial goal was basically, by the time my friends graduate, so basically in 4 years, I want to be making 6 figures a year online for my business. And like that way, all my peers, they're graduating school, they're having to look for jobs. A lot of times, you probably know this, like how many people graduate from university and they're working a job they could have worked without that degree.
Yeah, they're making my coffee at Starbucks most of the time.
Yeah, so I was like, you know what? They're going to be running around trying to find jobs, and I'm going to be making 6 figures from my online business. And I set that goal, and it happened. And again, it took a long time for my family to kind of give me that green light of approval of what I was doing. Like I think I had to be making millions of dollars and have like 10 people working for me for them to finally get it. But at first they're like, oh, is this just a short-term kind of fad? Or wait, how are you making money? I don't understand it. Like what is this? Like my mom had to have literally her like family, friends, and lawyer and be like, wow, what Gregory's doing is so impressive, for her to even like be like, oh, it is impressive. So like it definitely took a while. But it's kind of that the thing is that like if you're actually meant to do it, you don't care, you don't mind the flack. Like if a little bit of if your family being upset and telling like you want that, you need that pressure going against you, because if you can't handle that, you're not going to handle anything else. And I think in life it's good to have kind of that opposing pressure, because it definitely it makes you kind of like, if everyone just tells you, hey, building a business is easy, and yes, you're going to start this online business and you're going to make 6 figures in 4 years and everything's going to go smooth. Like if everyone's telling you that, like then you're going to have like, you're going to expect it to go smooth. And when things get tough, you're just going to give up. Like you need people to tell you, hey, this is really hard. It's not going to work out. Like so I actually like respect that sort of pressure.
How long did it take for them to come around and like see that it was the right choice? And I mean, a lot of the times what I noticed, like even with my family, when I started my first real big business when I was 30, it took a few years, and then people started asking me to hire them. First they were laughing at me because of what I did. And then it's like, okay, 12, 24 months, like within a few years, it was like, so do you have an opening? I've been watching what you've been doing. Like, how long did that take for you?
Yeah. And that's, yeah. So, I mean, the first few years, I think my friends and peers I went to high school with that were in university were kind of like, oh man, like what is Greg doing? Like he's kind of like they kind of saw me kind of, take that first step into like a downward progression in life. And I would say, so I started in 19, I would say like things really started getting good when I was like 20, 22. I think when I bought like my first car, it kind of changed the narrative.
What did you treat yourself to?
So I got just an Audi A7. But like 22, it's 22 years old. kind of like a big purchase.
Mhm.
Not too many 22-year-old kids are going, and so it wasn't anything crazy. Like it was like, you know, if I financed it and it was like literally nothing. Like it was I could have done that way earlier, but just you kind of, I think like with kind of people observing you, like there's certain like status signals that like trigger, oh, he's actually doing something, even if it's relatively easy to do. So I could have lots of money in the bank, but no one's going to see that. But as soon as I go and get a car, then it's like, oh shit, like this must be really working out. And then you know, and then like I think at one family dinner, you know, I was probably 21, so this is probably before I even got a car, but I think I was 21. Everyone's at family, and then I come up in conversation, and then my mom is just like, "Oh, Gregory should be in university. What is he doing with his business?" And then you know my what is your fallback going to be? And I was like, I don't know, the 100K in my bank account at the time is a pretty good fallback for now. And then my whole family was like, wait, what the hell? Like, this 21-year-old kid's got 100K in his bank account. Like he's doing something right. Mm-hmm. So like, I mean, those are the kind of the first little glimpses, but I mean, you know, it's end of the day, there's like, you know, Jim Carrey had a very, very, very good quote from his father, where he's referencing his father, basically, where his father kind of took the safe route, worked that kind of job he didn't really want to do. And in the end, he got fired and was broke. And so like the main story is that you can fail at doing what you don't want to do. So, you know, you might as well go after what you want. And, you know, that's
the difference between playing not to lose and playing to win right there.
Yeah, exactly. So I think, and then, you know, at 24, you know, obviously, you know, when the business got to that certain level, then pretty much, you know, everything changed. And the Bruce Wayne video, and then kind of traveling all over the place, getting recognized like a ton, and you know, it just kind of, so I'd say like really like kind of the seed was planted at like 21, 22, but the first 19, 20, first two and a half years, first 3 years, you're kind of going against, you're kind of swimming against the current. And then at the year 4, the things kind of switched. And again, like you have to, you know, the only person that matters that like believes in you ultimately is going to be yourself. And I'm a very numbers oriented person. And so when I started my business, even if I was making $500 a month, okay, you know, and that's one of the things that you have to do when you start a business, is that you have to have that discipline where it's like, man, if you're accustomed to making, you know, more money doing a job that you kind of want to get out of, and you like going out for dinners, you like taking out girls on dates, you like doing these things, you like having a little bit of money to spend, and then you want to start a business. Well, guess what? For me, it took probably to make a normal full-time salary took about 3 years. So for those first 3 years, I was living very lean. I wasn't going out for dinners. I was cooking at home. I was staying in. I was not going out very many weekends. See, people think that I got money thrown at me by my parents when I was, you know, a young adult. And the reality is I didn't. Like there's 5 kids in my family. We're all pretty grounded and not. I'm the only one in my family of 5 that's flashy, that can do this stuff. We're all pretty like if I got cars bought for me and a credit card connected to my parents' bank account at 20, I wouldn't have been able to work for 3 years making no money. I wouldn't it would be too hard. Like I'd be like, why am I going to spend 8 hours a day working on this online company to make, you know, maybe $500 this month when I can go and drop 5K this weekend on my, you know? So my father, before he passed away, I think he developed a very clear strategy to incentivize his kids to work very, very fucking hard, and then to help them out later in life with, you know, whatever. But his plan was always for us to be highly incentivized, because for him, he got way more fulfillment and fucking excitement and happiness out of building his own business than just having money. And the money was just more of like it's like a little, you know, it's a sign of my success. Like, yes, I can go and build this incredible castle, or I can, you know, take my family on you know, or buy this car. But it's like, once you know, it's just kind of, the journey or the game was really what lifted him up. And he didn't want to take that away from his kids. Like he saw with many other rich families where, oh, these kids.
Can you talk a little bit about how he incentivized, you know, you and your siblings to greatness?
Well, it was all kind of just kind of the way, you know, he lived his life. There was nothing, no crazy strategy, but I mean, he always kind of, you know, impressed like two things on me, you know: work hard, set goals. Work hard, set goals. This is my money. This is not your money. These are my buildings. These are not your buildings. Like, you need to kind of build your own thing. And the idea was basically like in our entire 20s, we're like, this is like, we're getting like, yes, school paid for, help, whatever. But like, if you want to get a car, you go buy it. We're not giving you a car. We're not. And so it wasn't anything. Basically, it's just like, hey, if you're, you know, if you're a multimillionaire and you have kids that are 20, you know, it can be tempting to want to like, okay, let's give him, like, it just having a very, very strong standards and kind of rules to follow. It's like, no, you want a car, you got to buy it. And I feel like a lot of people, like, that's the thing, like, you know, they want to, you know, they want, and also with my mom in the house, like, she's very unassuming. And so, like, kind of grew up with like Mazdas and Acuras. Acura was like the nice car in the family. So if I wanted to get a cool car, I had to kind of make the money. But that was pretty much like, that was kind of my, you know, and that's probably the one, like, I get hate. Over the years, I've gotten probably a lot of hate, and I don't care, because usually the more hate I get, the more money I'm making. And you need that hate. Like, if you don't want to go for it, but if you are marking yourself and you're polarizing and you're getting tons and tons of attention and tons of people are connecting with you, some people are gonna like get pushed the wrong way, and you're gonna get some hate. So I actually have found that, like, you're doing things right, you're sucking people in and you're pushing people away. You're putting your flags up and you're saying, this is who I am, this is who I want, this is who I don't want. But the only hate that bothers me is that, like, oh, Greg got an inheritance. He couldn't have started his business without like, you know, this and that. Oh, like, yeah, he just had. The reality is that I started my business lean. The first year cost me $500. And that first year I made 10 grand, and I saved it. And then the next year I made $30,000, and I saved that. And the next year I made 80,000. And then the fourth year I made 200K. And then the fifth year I made $1 million before I spent $1 on advertising, literally. And I barely had employees. I had 2 people working for me that I gave them a little bit of a profit split at the time. And so, like, I did it lean. I wasn't like, oh, I need to get 100K or 200K to start this business, and I need to do this, and I'm gonna run in the hole. I actually built my company on doing organic blog content, YouTube content, building my own mailing list, like, literally had no expenses. And then I only started spending lots of money on ads when I was already making a million plus a year. And then that's when things kind of started to kind of escalate a lot. But then people are like, oh, you know, he must have got millions of dollars and then invested that in starting his business and hiring this marketing team and then doing that. It's like, no, I started, like, the real start was when I was like 13, working out and reading all kinds of fitness stuff.
Yeah, there's no overnight successes. Every overnight success I know of took 5-10 years to achieve that success. It's not as easy. And I'm like, you know, to the point of haters, and, you know, those of that have watched me for a while have heard me say this before, but I'll say it again. Hate only ever comes from beneath. Nobody ever gets jealous of losers, right? So whenever somebody's spewing hate at you, it's usually envy driven, right? Because you look better than them, you're making more money than them, your girl's hotter than them, you're driving nicer car. It's like, it doesn't matter what it is. It's usually envy driven, right?
Oh yeah, no, 100%. And also, like, I mean, here's what I'll say. You know, I'll say that the more haters, the better. Like, if the world is full of haters, that it is a lot easier to succeed because there's no one whose mental model is dialed in more for failure than a hater. Eckhart Tolle has this really powerful quote, and I see it so much. And it's that whenever you resent someone else's success, you curtail your own success. If you want to attract and welcome success, if you want to attract success, you have to welcome it wherever you see it. You know, when I saw Ty Lopez in 2015 popping off, okay, when I saw Ty Lopez in 2015 popping off, I was at a dinner, and it was this mixed bag of more fitness figures that were making money in the industry, and I think some of them had definitely achieved some good success, but all of them kind of crashed and burned at this dinner. Like they pretty much all, maybe a couple still doing okay, but they were just going on this they were just hating on Ty Lopez. Oh, this guy, oh, what a douchebag. He's got this rented Lamborghini and this garage video, and they're hating on it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, and I didn't even know who he was at the time. I'm like, who's this Ty Lopez guy? And I found the video, and I was like, this guy's a fucking genius. Holy cow. And I'm like I'm seeing these ads everywhere. Okay, this guy's clearly making tons of money from these ads. You can't spend this much amount on YouTube if you're losing money and it's not. I
always get curious when I see shit like that. I'm like, what's this guy doing that I'm not doing?
I know. I got curious and I was like, I got pissed off. I'm like, why am I not running ads? I'm like, this guy's running. I'm like, I can make a cooler ad. And that's when I kind of made that Bruce Wayne video, and then that did very well for us. But like, see, that's the problem. See, once you start hating, you stop learning. Mm-hmm. And so if someone's above you and you start hating on them, oh, look how they're using a Lamborghini to market themselves, or in their garage, or it's like then that you've thrown away that learning opportunity. And again, I will say this: the more haters in the world, the easier it is for me to succeed, because you're literally attaching an iron to yourself. You're attaching a chain and ball to yourself. And again, if I was going through life just hating on people, it just throws you down. So I don't care. I don't care if someone is putting themselves out there in sort of a bad way, but they're usually, there's something to learn from, So you don't have to love everything they're doing. There's something to learn from, even look at the past president, I mean, he did an amazing job but even like a lot of
people talking about him today. They still hate him on him today.
But like, you can't even, people like that's an extreme example. If you can't,
they're like free marketing. I always look at haters like, that's my free marketing team. They won't shut up about me. Thank you.
No, 100%. And I've always kind of had this little belief that like, basically no one is inherently all good. No one inherently is all bad. And, stupid people just kind of live in extremes where, oh, he's terrible and everything he does is bad. He doesn't have one good quality. Whereas the truth is always sort of in the middle. Like people are double-edged swords. No matter how amazing or terrible someone is, they have, different qualities. And if you can't see that, then you're going through life blind. If you can't see that, that this person who's a very heated or controversial figure has both sides and he's doing good things too, or this amazing, if you can't see that, you're going through life blind, and like, no one should listen to you because you have no objectivity.
Are you a car guy? I mean, I see you with a Lamborghini Urus, and I see in Lambos and R8s from time to time. Like, are these your cars? You rent them for shoots, or what's the deal there?
Some of them I own, some of them I rent. I am definitely probably not on the same level of car guy as you, but I mean, growing up, yeah, like I was obsessed with cars and getting cars, and I've driven Lambos and a McLaren and pretty much almost everything, but I haven't done enough driving or racing or any of that stuff. But I'm into the, it's like my favorite thing, and that's what I'm going to do this summer, is like I am happiest and I have the most fun with a freaking top-down convertible. Like I am purely, I got a Jaguar F-Type convertiable.
Yeah, that was a nice car. I saw that on your feed at one point.
Yeah, I got it in when I was 24, 25. I had a Tesla before that, but it didn't do anything for me. And I got the Jag F-Type, and I just had so much fun in the summer, top down, music blasting, driving. The thing is in Canada, man, is that like I gotta like tame myself. I'm like one ticket away from losing my license for fucking a year. So
Have you ever done a rally?
No.
So I mean, the good thing about a rally, because I've done a few now, it's been a few years that I joined. Like Toronto's largest supercar club is called Saturn's Drives, right? And he does rallies, throughout the summer and sometimes in the fall. And I've done a few of them now, and they're a lot safer than driving by yourself because you're in a group of, I mean, usually it's about 80, 85 cars that are registered for the rally. And the cool thing about the rally is you're rolling with guys that are driving the same caliber of car that you are. So it's a really good networking opportunity because it's a multi-day thing. You have dinners, drinks, you're shooting the shit. You're causing havoc on the roads, obviously, and having some laughs. But, usually break off into groups of like a dozen, maybe 24 cars. And you kind of like, you follow the route because you have a route on Waze or on Google Maps. And because you're in such a large group, I've like almost nobody ever gets ticketed. If you ever get pulled over, it's like, the cops are pulling over a bunch of cars and they don't have time to ticket everybody, or they don't know, or they can't get to who was the person that was infracting. Plus, if you run anti-measures like police scanners and Waze and radar detect, like all kinds of stuff. So, I mean, if you want, I'll send you some information about that in DMs. But those are a lot of fun if you like cars.
Yeah, that could be awesome. That could be awesome to
We did one in Tremblant this fall where we went up to Ottawa and then went over to Tremblant and back, and there's some nice hills and twisties and stuff. It was a blast.
What time of year was that?
Fall. I think, no, wait, that one was in August. They had to cancel the fall one because of COVID restrictions, and I think Quebec was closing down again for some reason. But yeah, like the last couple of years have been weird. The wide open one that we did down in the States was the best one. That was just before COVID hit, and that was a 5-day one with like almost 100 cars. It was awesome.
I'm definitely gonna have to join one of those. I think I'm gonna try and get into this. We're gonna get into 911 Cabriolet.
Yeah, so, 991 or 992.
I mean, let me see. I actually almost bought a Turbo S, I think a 2018 Cabriolet Turbo S, and I should have got it because I probably would have gone up like 30-40K.
A buddy of mine's got an 18 with a tune, and Greg, I'll tell you this, like I was beside him one time and we were going to race, and I've got a 720S, right? And I'm like, I'm not even going to race him because he's got all-wheel drive, but I just look over him as he pins it, and it's like brake gas on these cars. The launch control is so simple. It's brake gas, and I'll hear it, and he just pins it. And the front wheel, I'm not even lying, like it comes up off the ground, like the car wheelies. They just took off.
Yeah,
they're insane. They are insane.
Turbo S?
Yeah, they are insane off the line.
Yeah, it's been kind of fun to kind of like, I remember like even when I was actually 19, I started my businesses in LA, and I connected with a family friend, and he had the 911 Turbo. And I remember like, and my father, his last car was a Turbo. And I remember in like the 2002 911 Turbo was 0 to 60 in like 4 seconds, I think. Maybe even been 4.2. It wasn't even the high threes.
Oh, they'll do them in 2.5 seconds now.
Yeah, now it's like 2.5 seconds. It's just it's
painful. Like you actually have like kidney pain now when you're accelerating in some of these cars.
Do you really?
Oh yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, the Urus right now obviously is the SUV, so it probably feels a bit different. But like you just like an ab workout, you hit it and just the abs are going crazy.
Yeah.
But like for me, it's like nothing hits different or feels better than being in a sports car, dropping the roof, having like the sun and the wind hitting you, the music blasting. It's just, to me, you're getting like a 10x experience versus being closed off. That's at least for me. I think everyone that's making money that likes cars should go and rent a convertible for a weekend just to see if it does that for you. Because for me, it's just like, I love the fresh air, being outside and just having the top down, driving up, to the cottage. It's such an amazing experience.
I would argue that it's the most fun you can have with your clothes on. How useful are the hot cars and the hot women in your work online to drive traffic to your business?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it helps for sure. It definitely helps. I think that even that Bruce Wayne video I did at the time, we used a Lambo in it, and I had a girl in that video. It's it's anything that can do two things is gonna like be a magnifier. One, anything that can capture attention. Lambos, exotic cars capture attention. And also they kind of create curiosity. If someone doesn't know who I am and then they see this video of me doing my workout, okay, cool, whatever. Maybe he's like big deal. But if someone sees me, it's like, wait, this guy's driving to the gym in a Lambo and doing this workout. It's like, who is he? What's the story there? So anytime you can kind of create curiosity, it's very brand elevating. It gets people thinking, remembering, talking, and it, you know, and the reality is that like I kind of like my belief with fitness has always been like, look, the end goal isn't just to like, let's just look incredible and be jacked and that's it. It's like people want the lifestyle, and that's kind of how I've been marketing myself. It's like, look, I don't just care about fitness. Fitness is a pillar of my life. It kind of it's the background of my life. It kind of holds my routine together. But like I always, you know, a lot of like when I got into fitness, Rich, like a lot of fitness figures were just kind of just getting way too sucked into fitness and being in the gym like literally all the time, like sacrificing themselves to get on stage and do shows and pose with other men. And the whole idea and like honor was just in like sacrificing your life, sacrificing your social life, and putting all your time, energy, and attention into your body. And to me, I was always like, what is the point of that? Like, what is the point of that? Like, I'm like, I've built this amazing body, but I have no life. Isn't the point to like build this amazing body to have a better life? Mm-hmm. And now it's like more like, so my belief's always been fitness should be a force multiplier in your life, where now you look like a Greek god, you have that energy, you have that tenacity, and now your dating life and your work life is going to be multiplied. So that's always been my mindset. So then when I go and I have models in videos or women in videos and sit cars, it's me kind of honoring that, where it's like, hey, I want to have an insane body. I want to have an insanely hot girl, or like my 10. And I want to drive, you know, a sports car and pretty much just like win at life. And so I kind of grab it. I kind of do that. And a lot of my followers, like they like it. Like some people like kind of hate on, oh, this guy's using a Lambo. They love it. Like when I'm like getting a new watch or kind of, you know, showing signs of success, it motivates them. And so it's also one of those things where if everyone is driving Lambos, it's obviously not gonna work. I think
how useful is the cars, the physique, the attitude in your life when it comes to women? I mean, was that a game changer for you? Because I mean, you were pretty much always in good shape from 19, from what I understand. You know, the way that you described it. So adding success and influence, because I mean, now you have influence. Now you've got social proof, right? Now people look at you and they're like, oh, this guy's got a blue check mark and 1 million followers on social media and a big YouTube channel. And I'm sure when you're out on a date from time to time, dudes will approach and be like, oh, dude, you know, your program saved my life. And you're there with a girl. And it's like, you know, automatically she's looking at you like, this guy has higher social standing now, right? Like, has that changed things for you a little? Like, how did that work?
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I've had those moments, and it definitely can help. 100%. I mean, I've even had like a few girls approach me, and while they were chatting me up, I had a guy like recognize me, take a photo with me, and then they were pretty much like, they were like down for whatever. But I'd say to me, like the cars hasn't been something where like directly it's something where like, oh my God, like I have this Lambo now, and then like I kind of like if a girl's too like hidden agenda or clear like objectives, oh, I like him for this, I kind of get turned off. But you know, I'd say definitely like the having a following, that is powerful, probably more powerful than just having a cool car, and being in really, really good shape, man. Like being in really, really good shape, it's like if you are into if you're into like getting girls, or you're into, you know, meeting women, and you don't have your body dialed in, it's that's the number one thing to do. Just because like it's the number one thing to do, because it's like I mean, you're in great shape. You kind of understand it. It's like if you're kind of out of shape and you don't have your fitness handled, and then when you finally get to that, when you get to that place when things are about to happen and get physical, it's kind of like it's way easier. Like they're just like if you're in awesome shape, it's like they're already thinking about that. They're already and things just happen way more effortlessly.
That's one of the things that does my head in, because I mean, I do a lot of coaching for guys, and I mostly focus on high net worth individuals now, but I used to deal with a lot of younger guys too. And it's like, you know, they want to get the girls, they want to get the girlfriend, they want to get the intimacy and all that sort of thing. And it's like, you know, you look at them and you're like, okay, well, first thing you got to fix is your look, man. Like, you know, if somebody's sick, the first thing that you got to ask them, you know, to do is you got to give up the things that created the sickness, you know, to begin with. And in your 20s and even 30s to some degree, it's a lot easier to be in good shape. Like I'm closer to 50 now, right? And in my 20s, like I could smoke a joint, eat a bag of Doritos, go to the gym, and like I was good. Like I was jacked. Like it didn't matter as long as I worked out a little bit, slept enough, and put in calories. The quality of the calories didn't even matter. Now it's like today, it's a lot harder to look good. Even at my age, like I'm on therapeutic testosterone. So I want to talk about TRT and steroids with you also on the show, because I know that you're natty. But it's not as easy as you think. But when you're younger, it's way easier, guys. So get your body sorted at a young age instead of trying to like reverse 20 or 30 years of bad choices in your 40s when you can do it now in your 20s. It's not hard to look good. Like it really isn't. Like I did it as a teen, just doing a bunch of push-ups and chin-ups and stupid things with my hands, like Charles Atlas would say, right? And it actually worked, right?
And you know what? I'd say push-ups and chin-ups are still underrated. Like they are really, really, really effective.
Okay, so question for you. If you had to pick one exercise that you could only do, what would you pick, you know, to look good?
Yeah, that's a good question. One, you know, it's hard to limit yourself to one exercise, but I would say, I mean, if I could just do one exercise, I'd say probably push-ups would be your best bet, because you know, you're getting some strong core stabilization in there, and you can pretty much do them anywhere. And it, you know, if you do, so I'd probably do feet up on a bench, push-ups, but kind of going side to side, so it's harder, because then when you go to one side, you're not using as much of the other arm.
Yeah, or if you grab like a basketball or a volleyball for one hand and the other hand's on the ground, so it's somewhat like unstable. It's another good way to do it too.
100%. I've noticed actually my chest looks like literally more developed when I'm actually doing a little bit of those push-ups in my routine. It just hits the chest really well. I mean, my I'm very big into doing incline presses, weighted chin-ups, Bulgarian split squats. I really like the Bulgarian split squat. Like, so those like three that I would be like always kind of like key in the routine. But if I just had to do one, I'd probably just kind of be doing push-up variations, or just, you know, feet elevated push-ups. Really, really, really good. I mean, some people say, oh, if I was going to do one exercise, I'd just do deadlift, but it's not going to do much for your aesthetics. Just
you don't need money to do push-ups too. I mean, I used to do like with the Charles Atlas program, he used to talk about doing sets of 20. And I think at some point I read something along the lines of try to get up to a cumulative top of 100 to 200. And I would do sets of like 25s, and I would do 25 on the ground, 25 with my feet up on my bed, and then 25 with my feet up on the dresser. So you'd hit like incline, you know, level, and then decline as well with all the different levels. And if you do 25 push-ups, because you got 8, so it's basically eight sets, your chest is going to be like pumped. Like it's jacked. Like it gets hard. Like you feel like it's really pumped. Like it's awesome. It works really well.
You know what? And on that note, I noticed that there's an advantage of doing bodyweight movements compared to lifting a barbell or dumbbells. When you're doing a push-up, right, your hands are fixed to the ground, and your body is moving towards and away from your hands, and your hands are fixed. And that pathway, it's actually easier to activate muscle with a closed chain movement versus your hands moving freely. It's actually harder to get, if you want to, you know, like the reality is that human beings, we cannot actually activate 100% of our muscle. You know, the more you train, the stronger your nervous system gets, the higher percentage of motor units you can fire. But it's for most people, it's not even close to 100%. But by doing a closed chain movement, a push-up, you can actually activate more of your chest than if you were to do, dumbbells. And you see this this is exaggerated by beginners. If you give a beginner dumbbells, they're like trying to stabilize it. They have no idea what they're doing.
Shaking everywhere.
But it's easier to apply maximum force towards the ground when it's fixed than a free moving object. And so I definitely find like you can really, really build muscle even if you throw like a weighted back and then you do push-ups and you get blocks and you go nice and deep. So, I mean, sometimes people are like, oh, I can't get to the gym. Today's a write-off. It's like the better thing to do is maybe today you can't go to the gym and the craziest schedule ever, do 4 sets of 20, 25 push-ups. That way you're still building positive momentum and you're still pushing your body in the right direction.
Yeah. I'm going to grab a couple of these super chats here before we continue, bud, just to acknowledge them. So, lawn care for Utah coffee. That's actually a pretty smart way to market your business. Thanks for that. He goes, although you're in Canada, I want to say happy Thanksgiving from the US to you, Rich, and everyone, being grateful. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. Extra Guac says, thank you to Kinobody. I've done the Greek God program and I'm in better shape in my 30s and in my 20s. Kino Octane and Collagen rocks. If you want to see testimonials of Greg's programs, go to his Instagram and he's always dropping them on there. There's like, the shit works. I've seen it. I've probably sold a ton of programs for you because like every guy that I talk to, first thing that I do is I'm like, get in shape. Well, I don't know how to do it. Well, buy Kinobody's programs, right? I'm like, just go to Greg's site. And you know what the funny thing is? The biggest piece of resistance I get from a lot of guys, Greg, is they're like, oh, well, I'm not tall enough to get girls, right? I'm like, well, how tall are you? It's like, oh, I'm 5'7", 5'8". I'm like, Greg's 5'8", like 180 pounds, something like that's your height weight roughly, right?
5'10".
5'10" and 180.
180.
Yeah. So like you can throw on the muscle pretty easily. Like you just have to do the work. Same Whiskey says most people fear success more than they fear failure.
You know what? I some of the best guys I know that get the hottest girls are not that tall.
Yep.
Like 5 my height, or some of the guys 5'7", 5'8".
I used to have this roommate in my late 20s that was 5'5". We used to call him Pocket Hercules just because he was jacked. He was like 5'4", and he used to slay. He was a full-on slayer. He definitely got more than I did.
Wow.
Eric says, as a man, we're supposed to live wealthy and fit. I agree with you guys. Do the work. Thank you, Rich, for bringing on the content.
But you know what? If a guy is shorter, he's 5'7", 5'8", there's going to be a portion of girls that are just going to like kind of be like, oh, I want a taller guy. But don't get caught up on those because there's going to be like beautiful women that do not care. I mean, look at Robert Downey Jr. He's probably 5'7". Tom Cruise, like these guys. I mean, obviously they're movie stars and stuff, but trust me, if they weren't, they'd still be dating models.
Yeah, and what most guys don't seem to understand or want to accept is all that needs to happen is she needs to be able to look up to you in heels. So if you're 5'6" and you're with a chick that's like 5 foot tall and 2 or 3 inch heels, she's still going to be looking up to you.
You know what though? I date girls that are like 5'9", 5'10", and they wear heels. They're tall, but I don't even care.
Well, you're Greg O'Gallagher. You can pull it off. Yeah, let's talk about girls a little bit. Holy smokes, we've been chopping it up for about 50 minutes. All right. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about the ladies. Where do we start? What's your life like with dating right now?
So right now, I've been, I've been single for a while, and I've been pretty like, for me, I've been pretty casual. So I will, it takes a lot to capture my attention. Now, right now, I'm actually seeing someone, but it takes a lot to capture my attention. So typically, most of the year, most of the time, I will go on dates with different women. Maybe have a few girls going on, and then if I'm not like crazy about a girl, then we're probably just gonna hang out for maybe a few weeks, a month, and then it's just kind of gonna fizzle out. I'm not the kind of person that kind of keeps a rotation going on for a long time just because I'll get bored. And I actually like even like a few months ago, I felt so happy. I'm like, you know what? Like I cleared out the rotation, starting from scratch. And so, you know, I meet girls I'll meet girls from Instagram and going out and
is that where you source most of them from Instagram? Is it dating apps? Is it girls that you hire for modeling stuff?
When I was like really building my business at 21, 22, like I was Tinder. Like Tinder was like was insane. Especially, I don't know, like it depends on like back then it really depended on the city, because that was when the Tinder was kind of beginning. But like in Toronto, Tinder was like nuts. Toronto and LA. Now I don't really do as much of the online stuff. I definitely find like Instagram is better for finding like more like the type of, it's more targeted towards my type. But yeah, pretty much Instagram, going out, and that's pretty much it. I think I've used Hinge before, but nothing that like, used Hinge a little bit.
I know you said that you watched a few of my videos last couple of days. Did you get across any of the content that sort of explain, you know, arousal and desire with women, you know, like the red pill sort of stuff?
I've seen some interviews. I don't think I got into that 100%.
Because I mean, like what I'm actually known for is not like doing these podcasts. I mean, the podcast is what I enjoy. Like the whole reason why I started the channel, guys, is because I liked hanging out with entrepreneurs, you know, with fast cars and kind of mashing those ideas up and talking about cars and business sort of stuff. But I kind of fell into the like women part of it, and people know me, you know, because I'm red pill. I wrote a book called The Unplugged Alpha, and it's sort of, you know, how you like fix guys' bodies. Yeah. I kind of fix their heads, right? So guys that have a good body, that have a messed up head, that are watching Greg right now, and you're not doing well with women, just watch my shit and, you know, it'll come to you, or just read my book. But I'm just wondering how far through that you got. Like, is there anything with women that has, you know, surprised you or shocked you or violated like any kind of beliefs that you had? Because I mean, like as kids, we're sold like a Disney-esque sort of story. There's sugar and spice and all things nice, and the prince and the princess. Like, have you seen? Yeah. I mean, you must have seen some stuff that's been like, wow, I didn't know women were capable of that.
Yeah, you know, absolutely. And I probably was very similar to you, where growing up, I had this, Disney ideal, and women are freaking perfect and amazing. And then you kind of, then you get your reality checked in. And,
what was your frying pan to the forehead moment? Like your reality check sort of thing?
You know, I don't know, like if there was like necessarily one moment. I'm sure there was like, I don't know, probably like dating the first girlfriend, whatever. And then, you know, kind of then like, you know, first girlfriend, and she kind of just, you know, she's talking to some other guy and the things get a little messy. But, you know, it's very, you know, you pretty much realize that like, if you're a high value man, you know what you're doing. Like women can get swept up and sleep with you like very, very easily, but then make, you know, Joe wait till like after a month or two. Mm-hmm. That's like that's kind of a realization. So like a lot of guys, when they're more inexperienced, they get like obsessed over a girl and they're like, oh, like, you know, and then they get caught up, but they think she acts like that with everyone. They don't know how she'll act around like a high value man that kind of knows what they're doing.
Yeah. Did you ever have like a moment that sort of like red pilled you?
Yeah, no, I did. I basically I think like I've naturally deep down been like such a nice guy and a good guy. Like when I was young, even when I first got Tinder, I felt guilty talking to two girls at the same time. literally, that's how much of a fucking
until you figure out their phone is basically a box of dicks and they're talking to like 3 dozen guys.
No, I literally felt guilty. I was like, had this little connection with this girl, and like we're gonna hang out, and then some other girls messaged me. I'm like, I feel bad. Like,
should I tell her I'm talking to another girl?
I know, but then all these girls are talking to like so many guys, and I just remember whenever I just kind of cut myself off from all other women and was like, okay, like this is the girl I'm talking to, like this is who I'm into. Things always kind of went downhill from there.
Yeah.
Like I just looked at the pattern. I'm like, hey, like if I kind of get obsessed with this girl and then I stop I just put all my eggs in this basket before we've started even, like in the beginning process, it always doesn't work out. I always found that like, not anymore, but when I was younger, I was like, if I really, really like, let's say there's like two like very, very beautiful, like there's some guys that just like, cute chick is whatever, and they just want to get loads of numbers. I don't care about that. For me, it's like complete quality. And so like some girls, like literally, I'm just like, they light me up. I'm like, damn. So like, I remember like I had like two insanely beautiful girls I was chatting with, and like one of them I kind of wanted more at the time. I was like, I want her more, and then didn't work out. But then the one that was like insanely hot still, like that one worked out. So it's like it kind of helps to have like a few going on, and a lot of times the one you want the most is the one you'll mess up, especially when you're learning, and then you'll get the second best. So yes. Keep them all, but the moment I had that kind of probably the kind of like woke me up was basically when I was like, I formed this connection with this girl here in Toronto. We went on a couple dates. Hooked up a little bit, and I was in LA for work for a while, and like we were FaceTiming so much, so much, and then what was that?
She's keeping an eye on you. That's why.
She's keeping an eye on me.
She's trying to anyway.
But she would nip like she would nip when I make certain comments, when I'm just kind of being a man and making certain comments. She would kind of nip that. Oh, you shouldn't say that. Or you shouldn't talk like that. She'd kind of be trying to demasculize me. Mm-hmm. Right. And I was a bit of a pussy at the time. I was kind of, that's what happens to some guys. I see them in the relationships, and they slowly get softer. They lose their edge. They get soft.
It's called pussification by 1,000 concessions.
Yeah. And that's also why I've loved being single. Because you just feel like a fucking man. You fucking, you do whatever, it's like, it feels good, but so I let her get, again, I think it's important. If anyone's retracing their dating history, it's like, look, like, did she? No, I let myself kind of get pussified a little bit. Mm-hmm. Anyways, like she was, point was that she was back. It was a reading week, or she was back from university, and I literally flew back to Toronto to see her. Like, booked the flight, paid the money, boom, 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 and then went to like meet up with her. But like when I got to Toronto, she was being super distant. I went to meet up with her, and then like she literally like. And this is when we got very intimate emotionally. And then she told me like she told me like she was being like really distant and like mean or whatever, like bitchy, and then she's like, yeah, sorry, I'm like, I got back together with my ex-boyfriend. And then but before that she mentioned something about her ex-boyfriend, and I was like, hey, like, is this an issue? Should I be worried here, this ex-boyfriend thing? And she was like, oh, no, I'm not into him at all. Like, we had a terrible thing. Like, I'm not into it at all. Like, yes, come to, like, she was like telling me to come to Toronto. And then she fucking pulled that on me. And I just went home, and I was like, I just felt crushed, man. Like, I really, really wanted to see her. And then I was into her, and I shared a lot with her. And then she literally just, she told me that. And man, this event, this hit me hard. And I just remember like fucking being so pissed, and like, even though all that shit, I was like, fuck, I wanted to see her. Like, I got so excited to see her. And then I went on my computer, I opened Evernote, I did some journaling, and I just wrote. And then I just got to that point in like half an hour. And I was just like, I got to that point. I was like, no, she lost her chance. That's it. Like she like that. It's almost like I hit a switch where I was still in pussy mode. And I was like, oh, I still want to see her. Like, damn. And then I just hit that switch, and then the switch hit, and I'm just like, don't want anything to do with her. And guess what? Probably, I don't know if it's a week or 2 weeks later, send a text message. Hey, didn't respond. Hey, how are you? Didn't respond. Are you mad? Didn't respond. And then I got fucking essays, bro. I got fucking essays. I never responded. Ever.
You know what women hate the most? Like, the thing that motivates them the most when they misbehave is what's called it's either called a soft next or a hard next. And a soft next you usually do for a few days, like you just ignore them. Women hate it when you take away attention, right? That's when they lose their mind and they start writing the essays. Yeah.
She never got it again. I was at a bar a year later, and her sister came up to me and slapped me in the face. It's like, how dare you do that to my sister? I was like, what the hell? This girl literally made me fly to Toronto, then said, sorry, I'm back with my ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
And I'm the asshole.
So how old was she?
She was like, I must have been 21. She's probably 19.
Oh yeah. Okay. So she's in the party years, man. She's flipping back and forth is what she's doing.
She's flipping back and forth, but also, you know what? I made the mistake where I was entering her frame and I was kind of getting
about frame.
What?
Oh, you know about frame.
Dude, I'm into the stuff, man.
You're good. You're good.
But frame is like very powerful for, you know, really any social context.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. It applies to business transactions, you know, deals, customers, women, especially. Like, you definitely want women in your frame. Like, when she's telling you what to do, you know, for example, like when you're on, you know, the FaceTime when you're in LA and she's like, oh, don't say this and don't do that. You're entering her frame, right? You know, versus like, I don't care what you think, you know, sort of thing, which is her coming into your frame. It's a really interesting dynamic. And I really wish I knew this stuff when I was younger. Like, I didn't really get my head fully around it until I was in my 40s. But guys that are learning this from me now as a result of watching my channel or reading my book, like they're really doing a lot better with women in their 20s and 30s, and they're not making the stupid mistakes that I did.
And I've noticed this, certain women, certain even beautiful women, they will test guys. And one of the ways they'll test guys is they will try and take the frame from you constantly.
Yeah,
like I've had this not too long ago where literally this girl is like trying to hold the frame like no one else. And, you know, in little ways. And
boss girl?
What was that?
One of these boss girls?
Yeah. She was like young and hot, but like she was all like taking the you know, I'd say, hey, come here, and like whatever. She would be like, And then I literally called her on it. I was like, what? You have very, very strong frame control.
Yeah.
I literally told her, and she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, look, you know, usually when I'm out with women, they try and be nice, like effortless to hang out with. They're pleasant. They go with the flow, and like you just like to kind of be a little combative and standoffish. Mm-hmm. And I literally called her on it, and I just withdrew my attention, and then she changed immediately.
Yeah, it's amazing how that works. So these like hashtag boss girls that you see out there, like I'm a boss bitch, boss girl, and all that sort of stuff. It's like, these women are the worst to deal with because they're going to try to run your life. They're going to want you to enter their frame. They're going to put you through the betatization, through 1,000, you know, concessions process. And ultimately she's going to turn you from the, you know, she's going to be like, oh, look, I'm with Greg Gallagher and let's have Thanksgiving dinner with my family. Look how hot he is and blah, 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 and successful. And then she'll turn you into some beta bitch within like 6 to 12 months with all that, you know, constant beating you down with the concessions that you make over and over again. So it's one of these things that a lot of guys sleepwalk through in life, you know, when it comes to women and relationships, because they do what, you know, you and I were sold the bill of lies on, which is, well, just be a nice guy, you know, and everything will work out. And, you know, she'll be in your frame and she'll compliment your life and she won't ever, you know, hurt your feelings or go back to the other guy, you know, when you think that you're flying back to Toronto to be with her, sort of thing. It's really, really interesting when you dive down at all.
And you know what? And that's probably one of the big, yeah, I mean, you know, if someone off the bat is just kind of their operating system is very, very difficult, then that's probably not the girl that you should date. Like, I agree fully. But you know, it is really fascinating how, you know, how I think the biggest mistake that I think I see men make and that I've seen myself fall into before is, you know, trying to, you know, like the only way to like influence behavior in a positive way is basically just with your attention, you know? And so, and so like, that's kind of the big connection that I've made. Like sometimes girls will they'll be shit testing, they'll be taking the frame, they'll be doing this, they'll be, and then they'll just try and like, they'll try and chase. And like, it's not the move to do that. You just gotta withdraw. There's only, you know, it's probably it's very powerful, very powerful.
Are you familiar with the concept of hypergamy?
To a limited degree, not extensively, but
all it really means is that a woman's got to be able to look up to you and see that you're the best guy that she can possibly get with, right? So women date across and up on the socioeconomic scale. It's why, you know, you're not dating women that are equivalent to you or higher. You're dating women that are on the socioeconomic scale, either at your level or below, right? And guys look at women as beauty objects. Women look at guys as success objects. So What it is essentially that they're trying to do is throw a competency test at you, which is also known as a shit test, to see if you're the best guy that they can get. Like, is this guy somebody that's going to say no to me, right? Like, they want to hear no. They're never going to tell you, tell me no, but they actually want to hear you no. They want to like get ghosted from time to time if they misbehave, so that they can get put back in check. They'll never tell you this. And, women watching this right now, or they'll say, hey, Greg, I saw that interview with Rich and he's lying. He's full of shit. But you use it and you see it work. Don't worry about it. Just watch how they respond to it is all I tell guys, right?
Oh, abs fact. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? And it is true. Like if you look back historically at times when you've put a girl on the pedestal and just been available and
treat her like a celebrity, she's going to treat you like a fan, right?
Yeah. Even if you're fucking Brad Pitt doing that, you can, even these like even some of these huge celebrities that they have girl, like they're getting simpy for girls. Not for some one person at least. Yeah.
I want to talk about a little bit more back to the business than the self-care stuff. So right now your business is more or less tied into programs, clothing, and nutritional supplements. And I think I'm wearing one of your shirts. Is that how, by the way, you DM me on Instagram? Because I normally don't get DMs from guys with blue check marks. Yeah.
So I remember a good friend of mine, a good business friend of mine, he actually mentioned you, I don't know if it was a year or 2 years ago. He mentioned it was like, oh, this guy, entrepreneur cars, like he's like really got really fucking sick content. And I remember hearing about you back then, and then just recently, I don't know what I was watching on YouTube. I think I came into one of your content pieces. I think some Will Smith thing. I saw a video and I was watching this video. I'm like, and it's a white Henley shirt, right? It's a white Henley shirt. It's not like this crazy design that I can recognize, but I'm like that looks like a Kino clothing shirt. I could fabric the feel, and I was like, you know what? Let's hit this guy up with a message. I was like, hey,
I picked them up because I'm always looking for clothes that fit nice and are comfortable. And, because I follow you on social, I'm like, that stuff looks like it fits properly. So I placed an order about a year ago, and I got some shirts and some of the joggers and stuff. And, they work out really well. Like it's great clothing. It's high quality. I'm not getting paid to say this, guys, or anything like this. I don't have an affiliate link. Just go to Kinobody and buy the clothing. Like it's just nice stuff.
I appreciate it. We have our Black Friday sale on right now. So
go. Yeah. Buy it because it's really nice stuff and it fits properly, especially if you have a good physique. And you don't have to spend a lot of money on clothes. Like one of the great lies out there is, with a lot of style gurus, and yes, if you don't have a nice body and you don't have, this, that, and the other thing, style can move the bar for you. But you can put, I don't know, what do these cost? $40, $50?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, like you can put a $40, piece of clothing on somebody that's got a good physique, and you can look better than a guy that spent $1,000 on a tailored, shirt and pants or a jacket or something like that. It really helps. So can you talk a little bit about the supplement line, the clothing, and the nutritional line and those businesses?
Yes. So the business began with programs. Actually, when I was 20 years old, I was doing affiliate for this other workout. People like, dude, I've seen your free workouts. They're working better than this program you're promoting. You should make your own program. And so I started creating fitness programs first. And, we did, Greek Guide. Now our flagship program is Movie Star Body. And they're basically like 6-month programs, nutrition and training, to create a transformation, to create a certain physique with the fasting, the lifting, the different phases. And so that's been like the core business model. And then a few years ago, I had the opportunity to start and build my own supplements. And really the mindset there was that there wasn't really a pre-workout that I wanted to take. Most of the pre-workouts, I couldn't sleep.
Are you known mostly for the pre-workout for the Kino Octane?
Yeah. That was kind of the first supplement that we created was actually the pre-workout. And I had the ability to create exactly what I wanted as a pre-workout. And we created it, and it has like the L-theanine, so you feel very calm and focused. And it's just like an awesome pre-workout. And then kind of the next kind of supplement I got really into was doing like a collagen protein, which is great for your skin. And then so we did the collagen protein. Then we made a little muscle building formula. And it's just a few key supplements that you take on my training to kind of to improve results. And if nothing else, just taking the octane and collagen, you got more energy, better workouts, faster recovery, and you get the benefits of adding collagen to your diet. So it's 2 key supplements, and that's been growing a lot. We have thousands of people on our monthly subscription program there. And then really the clothing line, and it's, again, this all ties into like kind of building the body and then building the life of your dreams. The clothing line is it's really kind of creating that. The goal is to really create that Hollywood effect. So Rich, you've leaned down, you've got your body fat down, you put on some strength and muscle. Guess what? You go to Target, you buy clothes, and you walk around the street, and people can kind of notice, but you're not really turning heads. Oh. It's like if you're building the body,
off the shelf clothing sucks. It never fits properly.
Never. You can't, and then you hide your proportions, and so in men, the strongest sign of physical attraction is going to be that shoulder to waist ratio. That's even the shorter guys. That's more important. Yeah.
Sorry, I wrote about that in my book. I was talking about the golden ratio. It's 1.62 shoulder to waist.
Exactly, and it's even more powerful than your height. So for guys that are not 6'1",
they've done studies on this actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so like the shoulder waist ratio is the strongest sign of physical attraction. So you built the shoulder waist ratio, but now you're wearing clothing that's built for someone that is kind of built more like a rectangle, and like you don't really, you don't really capture that. And so the clothing line is really to kind of create that Hollywood effect where, okay, you're in great shape. Now we're wearing tailored clothing that can actually capture that proportion. And now you walk down the street and you're getting compliments and people are looking at you because it's contoured to your physique. And then, when you throw on a pair of jeans, boots, leather jacket, Kino top, Kino Henley, it's like now you look like a movie star. And it doesn't, and it's fashion for men if you're in really good shape is so simple. Mm-hmm. Just a cool Kino shirt, some jeans, go, get a nice jacket, wherever, and you look good all the time. And I actually recommend simplifying. Like, go to your wardrobe, throw everything out, throw everything that you don't love that isn't like really versatile out, and start from scratch. And then you have your jeans, whatever, you have your Henleys, your tops, your button down shirts, and just keep it simple. So every day you don't have to think about what you're gonna wear. Like, boom, okay, Monday through Friday, I'm just gonna throw on white Henley or black Henley or a pocket shirt and my pants, and then on and then it just like men should not be going into the wardrobe, putting something on, looking in the mirror, going back, and then doing that for 30 minutes. That is the opposite of what you should be doing.
It takes too much time.
Yeah,
it's a good waste of time. What is how did you come up with the name Kinobody? Like, what does that mean?
So I actually was very interested in the, I was very fascinated or curious about the pickup industry when I was a teenager.
Who did you follow?
Who did I follow?
Like mystery or?
I honestly, I found Mystery really, really, really compelling. Mm-hmm. Just the way he talked and held attention and his little gambits. I found it very interesting. Obviously, for anyone that's listening, like, you got to be able to like take everything with a grain of salt and not be, but I found him like pretty compelling. I think there's some other people that I followed. I know I watched some RSD stuff, but and I read the book The Game, and so so long story short, I found that stuff kind of fascinating, and some of that stuff was helpful, some of that stuff was not, like, it's kind of learning, taking a few little pieces, but I honestly I think the Mystery was really, really cool, and he was actually like this 6'5", 6'6" magician wearing funky glasses going. He's kind of a crazy individual, but anyways, one of the key terms was Kino escalation, right?
Oh, okay, like as an escalation. Okay.
Yeah, so like physical touch between a man and woman, and it's like, look, like if you could have the best conversation in the world, be the coolest guy in the world talking to a girl, but if there is no sense of physical touch, then the things are not moving into.
So Kino isn't touching the body because it looks hot.
Yeah. Okay. So like it's like Kinobody. It's like a body that fucking looks girl so good. Like, women can't keep their hands off. Women keep the hands off you. It's like it's natural Kino. Like, it's like when when
Do you get that a lot from women? And when you're talking to them, like they just kind of like I used to have women just like grab my chest, and I'd be like, "What are you doing? Like I can't do that to you."
I I get like I get I get that a little bit. But also like 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 when I was in my 20s and I was
It was like randoms, like women that I used to work with and stuff. It was so
interesting. Interesting.
it's
I,
like now we got this Me Too culture, right?
yeah.
Back in the day when I used to work in the corporate world, before I had my own businesses, like they would do that.
Wow. What that was back in the day.
Yeah.
I mean, they still do that stuff and they get away with it. It's that double standard, but I definitely like that Ryan Gosling Crazy Stupid Love movie. Like I've had that moment so many times when you take your shirt off and the girl's just like, dude, you look photoshopped. Like what? Like, but again, like I think like having the body dialed in and being in really, really good shape, it makes it so much easier for the girl to like hook up. It's like it helps so much. But so yeah, that was where Kino came from. That was kind of where it came from. And also like there was some really cool, like a lot of like German Kino translates to movie. So movie body, movie star body.
Oh, okay.
A lot of cool, like little connections with Kino there. But really it was like the time I started Kinobody, right? What was the fitness landscape was very interesting. There was people that wanted to just simply lose weight, but losing weight was kind of just not, it was kind of for like average people just losing weight, not really building a great body. There was athlete training, which is, super cool, but like that's more tailored if you're a football player or whatever, basketball player. And then there was like simply like just getting big, just bodybuilding and getting big. And so what was the problem with that was that no fitness approach spoke to me. I was like, man, like I was like just bodybuilding, eating 4,000 calories and getting up to 200 pounds or whatever of fluff and puff that's not the look. That's not what I personally want, nor is that what like girls are going to be like jumping.
Women don't like that. They like the swimmer's body.
Exactly. And then and so there was nothing spoke to me. I'm like, let me carve out a fitness philosophy where I'm going to build the body of a movie star. I'm going to get really, really strong. And you see this with people in my programs. They get really, really, really strong where they're doing 100-pound pull-ups and they're incline pressing 100+ pound dumbbells.
Yep. It works. I mean, I've seen a lot of the footage, like the video footage that you put out, and it's like you can't fake that. And some guys might argue, oh, well, he's on gear, he's on juice. No. If you lift properly and you feed your body right and you train properly, like you can actually be stronger off gear than what you are on gear. Like I can tell you right now, like on testosterone therapy at my age, I can't lift like the same amount of weight that Greg can right now, Natty. But when I was his age, Natty, I definitely could.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's some research that like basically your relative strength, how strong you are, relative to your body weight is going on gear is not going to help that much for relative strength. I think Greg Knuckles of Strength Theory, he had some cool content on that. And again, like I try and I'm all about proof. So I obviously showing my testosterone levels that can be faked and whatever, but I've shown my testosterone levels 4 or 5 times in the full blood panel of LH, FSH. And so it's the numbers are are always consistent within 10% or whatever. And I've done my DEXA scans and I always tell my haters, hey, if you want to bring your girl over and fucking check out my package, it's fucking big fucking balls. Okay. There's no shrinkage. So you can do that if
Would you ever go on TRT when you get older?
I've actually opened the conversation with some fitness guys that are like in their 40s about this. So I have my testosterone levels checked.
What do you do? Like check them once a year or?
I'd say every few years. Yeah. I've got them checked when I was like 23, 25, and I got them checked recently. But when I got them checked recently, I was recovering from being sick. And so I don't know if they were, but like the recent test was around 600, 605. Mm-hmm. But I know
you get the jab recently around the same time that you tested it?
Not at the same time. No.
Okay. Like even like close, like within a few months?
No.
Okay. All right. No, I was just curious because a buddy of mine's been telling me that, you know, he's been tracking some of his clients that have gotten the jab, and if the blood labs are coming back close to the time of the jab, they're noticing like a steep decline in the testosterone levels from it.
Come on.
Yeah.
Wow. Did he say that it bounced back or no?
You know what? I'll ask him for you.
Yeah.
I didn't go too far down the conversation, but I mean, I would imagine your body should be able to recover.
Yeah, for sure. But so my levels are around 600, and so you know, I've also hit that point right now where I will say I'm 30 years old. I've been training, literally lifting weights since I was 13. My strength probably peaked around 28, 29. Like I've been training for a long time. Mm-hmm. And if I'm going to stay around 180, 178, like I've pretty much lifted as heavy as I'll ever lift in my life. Mm-hmm. Now, if I was on gear, I could probably get stronger and build upon that. But at 30 years old, I've definitely noticed.
You probably won't, you know, to be honest with you really don't get that much stronger when you're on testosterone. Like you'd have to get it. Like I've never used Tren or any of the other crazy shit. I mean, you'd have to get into that to really get like the heavy strength, but what I've seen you lift, that's anything more than that, you're going to start stressing your joints. You're going to run into back issues, knee issues, shoulder issues.
Yeah. You know what? I agree. I've rep 315 for 6-7 reps, and it's like, hey, you know, we're good. Like we're good. So like right now but the TRT thing. Yeah. Like, so my kind of thesis or my lens that I view kind of fitness on is really all about optimizing for health and longevity. And obviously, like, you know, you want to function at a high level. So the mistake I see a lot of men make is they're in their 20s, they're taking gear, and they're kind of shutting down their hormonal levels, and they're
I get a lot of guys that ask me about taking testosterone in their 20s because they get their levels checked, and they know that I talk about TRT, and I have a chapter in my book about managing your endocrine system as well, and I talk about TRT in it as well, and I tell them all the same thing: do it naturally. Like you don't need to touch testosterone until your body needs it. It's probably not. You may not never need it, but I mean, like the time for that is probably 40s for you,
right?
For most guys, anyway.
Yeah, you know, I have
everybody wants a shortcut, right? Like, you know, let's flip a switch and lose 20 pounds, you know, put a cream under your eye and wipe away, you know, 10 years of aging. Like everybody wants the shortcuts to life, right?
Yeah. And so, and I have nothing against TRT. If someone is at that age and they do it correctly and they bring their levels to like a, you know,
and under the guidance of a doctor too, I would add as well.
Yeah. With a doctor. And then it's like, you know what, that very well, like, I mean, a lot of CEOs, you know, you hear about them, they're kind of getting that extra kick.
Take a look at Jeff Bezos. He looks like a freaking cyborg in his 60s, right? He looks great.
Yeah. But so, I mean, for me, it's like, if like, don't do something that's going to age you faster. You're going to take too much. You're going to shut down your hormonal levels. It's going to mess with your
sexual function too.
Sexual function. Yeah. But, you know, I think Jordan Belfort openly talks about TRT and they've been on it for 10 or something years. What were your levels like before you went on TRT?
They were mid upper, but I didn't have like the same level of optimization that I had years before. Like I was around 43 or so, maybe 44, I think. And I just remember going to the gym and it's like, I'd be there for 10, 15 minutes and I'd feel like so unmotivated. I do like a bullshit workout. Like I'm here now, so I'm just going to do calves, right? Just to say that I did something. Mm-hmm. And I didn't have good productivity levels and focus. Wasn't waking up with morning wood. Like, you know, like the standard, like low T symptoms that start to happen. And I wasn't low per se on the government tables, but the government tables, like, it's like when like a kid can't dunk the basketball, then they just lower the net. That's what the government's been doing, you know, with the tables. So testosterone levels have actually precipitously declined over the last 50 years. There's a really good book, actually. I think that if you haven't read it, you should check it out. The guy's name is Dr. Anthony J, and it's called Estrogeneration. And he talks about all the environmental estrogens out there that are lowering, you know, testosterone levels and how it affects you and all that sort of stuff.
I literally just found out that there's phthalates, or however you pronounce that word, in Chipotle.
Phthalates, yeah.
Phthalates. Yeah. Plastic-containing chemicals that.
Yeah, there's phthalates in plastic. There's atrazine, which
mimics estrogen in your body. I mean, come on, they couldn't just make that like.
Dude, Dude, the tap water has estrogen in it because women are on birth control pills and they're peeing in the toilets. It goes into the water treatment plants. They can't, like, they can filter out particles, but they can't filter out hormones. So if you're drinking tap water out of a fountain, out of like your faucet, like if you boil pasta, you know, with tap water, that's got female estrogen in it, right?
What do you do for water?
I have I drink a lot of this here, which is a spring water. This is actually a Canadian company. It's called Flow, but they have alkaline water and it's got collagen in it too.
Oh, yeah,
But I
you
also
know,
have it.
one of my friends is one of the investors in Flow. Like,
Yeah, it tastes really good. So I have like cases of that, you know, delivered every month. But I also have a 5-stage filtration system. It's a reverse osmosis, and that gets out the estrogens out of the water.
yeah, I just drink sparkling water with last bottle.
Yeah, guys make fun of you. You know, they call you like the San Pellegrino water guy. Like I put it out on Twitter, and somebody came at me with like, "Oh, you're talking to the water meme guy," and I'm like, I'd rather talk to the Jack meme guy than some dork that's like trying to sell some pickup artist class that doesn't know anything.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, those guys, are them. Yeah, you know, and that's one of the things I kind of realized is that as I got a bit older, I kind of saw through all the pickup artist guys and kind of realized that like
most of them are frauds. Like most of them don't have a leg to stand on, and they weren't anything before they figured out how to upload onto YouTube and go live and make up some shit about how to get girls, and they don't live it in the real life, you know, for the most part.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if one of those guys' dating life is as good as mine.
I can pretty much assure you. I mean, you know, mine's great, and I got a great chick in my life. But yeah, you know, for the most part, most of the guys in there, you know, out there holding out to the public. Anyway, so
yeah. So I was gonna say on the TRT thing, it's like that's also like, dude, like I freaking like I love having a high sex drive. Like I'm really into a girl. Like I'm having sex 3 times a day. I love waking up and like and feeling that sex drive. So
when you're going 8 times in your 40s, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, this shit's worth it.
Yeah. So I mean, that's my, you know, I'm feeling great now. I've had to kind of accept that. Okay, you know what? Let's maintain my strength around here and just be lean and focus on my business. I don't need to like try and bench 400 pounds. But you know, if that's something where if I'm like, you know, if I'm 36 or 45 or 48 and, you know, I'm dating a young hot girl and I got to fucking get my shit going, I got to up my game, then that's something I'll consider. But I'm a very transparent person and I have integrity. And so if I do anything like that, like best believe, like, yeah, I will say that on a podcast.
I'm always open about it. Yeah.
You know, open, you know, and I respect that. What I don't respect is people that are taking shit and like lying about it.
A lot of the fitness influencers do, I think. Actually, you had a bout with some dork down in I don't know, the US somewhere, Skywalker or something like that, and you use his name as a coupon. Tell that story. That was fucking hilarious, man. I laughed my ass off when you did that.
Yeah, so the story is at the time I was doing lots and lots of paid advertisements on Instagram, and it was me shirtless. Hey, if you want to build a body, like, look, you want to get lean and muscular, swipe up, whatever. And then this guy who had a bigger following than me at the time, he was ripping me up. He's doing stories and be like, look at this fucking loser, this skinny bitch, like whatever, like selling cookie cutter programs, boom, 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 and talking shit. And I ignored it. And then not too long later, you know, I had a few margaritas I was with a girlfriend of mine. I had a few margaritas and the shit popped off again. Okay. The shit popped off again. And you know, when you have a couple drinks and you kind of, you know,
that's when the filters turn off a little bit and you kind of say what you're actually thinking.
The filters turn out. And so I was like, you know what? I was like, let's have fun here. And I was like, what was I, 27 at the time? And the funniest part was like just a couple months ago, or no, it was just a matter of months ago. I was in LA. This girl DM'd me. She was actually pretty hot, and we started hanging out that week while I was there. And she was like telling me something. She was like bring up her ex-boyfriend. She's like, oh, that gay, this ex-boyfriend, whatever. And like I was like cool, but like she was bringing it up, and I was like, so then like I was like, hey, who is this guy, whatever. And like she was saying like he was a little like psycho. I was like, hey, who is this guy, whatever. And she's like, oh, I don't want to tell you. I'm like, okay. Like,
by the way, trend tends to have that effect on your mind, eh?
Yeah, it makes, yeah.
That guy looked like he was on something like that because he was big and he was lean as hell.
Yeah, and his probably emotions were off.
Yeah.
But so anyways, she kind of told me it was him, and I was like, oh, interesting. I was like, guy hates on me. And so anyways, so then fast forward when he's talking.
So you smashed his girl, right?
Yeah. So I smashed this girl like 4 or 5 times. But you know what? She was actually very, very nice, pleasant, chill girl. So nothing to say, but she was actually very sweet. But so long story short, he's talking shit about me. I'm just like, fuck it. Like, I had a few marks. Let's fucking do it. And I just started a little Instagram. I put up a little Insta story. I was like, some like steroid bodybuilder hater is shit talking me right now. Proud pissed that I banged this girl.
And then you use his name for a coupon code, right?
Yeah. So anyway, the best part was that
that's how you monetize your haters, guys.
The best part was that I didn't say his name at all. I didn't say his name, and like I barely say this. I didn't tag him. I just said that. Then I get some, and so my followers are the ones telling me, hey, this guy talking shit. This guy talking shit. I was like, you know what? For the Kino Warriors, we're gonna fucking end this. And so we're going back and forth, and he's just like, oh, dude, like no fucking like bullshit, like no way, my girlfriend would be into you, this and that, like, oh, you're a loser, skinny bitch, whatever. And so I'm like, dude, I'm a fucking man of my word, and I show fucking proof. And so I go back into my Instagram history, and there's little stories of me walking with her, of her getting to my Lambo because I was filming a little shoot day. And so I'm sprinkling in the little proofs, okay? Sprinkling in the proofs, and my followers are just freaking dying. I do this little, it's still on my Instagram story. It's this John Scott. I do this little Instagram story about, I was like, John, don't worry. Okay, you know what? It's tough. It's a tough situation. It happened, but here's the deal. We're gonna get you off the fucking trend. Okay, we're gonna get you on my Greek God program. We're gonna get you. You're smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. That's fucking gross. Get rid of that shit. We're gonna get you on Kino Octane. So I'm gonna do this for you today. I'm gonna give you a 50% coupon code. All you have to do is so simple. This is the first time I even like really reference his name. Like, all you have to do is put in your name. Okay, John Skywalker. You get 50% off. And anyone else, if you guys want to use this, use the code too. And the code started ripping. And because like people love drama. So because like my story views would just triple because and I was getting so much attention. He kept tagging me, shit talking me. His followers were coming over, and then they started to like. And so during this whole thing, I'm creating my new friend. He has his followers. Now they're entering my frame because guess what? They're on my Instagram. They're watching my Insta story. I'm showing transformations. I'm showing before and afters. I'm like, John, where are your before and afters? I have the best in the industry. Look at these testimonials. Look at this. And so his followers come over to hate on me, and they're getting into my shit. And then
how much did you sell with that coupon code?
So it's like, I think very fast we did 10K and then 20K, and then within 24 hours we did $130,000 US.
So you made $130,000 off this idiot because he was making fun of you.
Yeah, I did.
That's awesome.
We banged his girl.
You banged his girl and you made 130 grand.
130K cash, and he probably gave me some fucking new customers.
And you got a bunch of followers and a bigger audience, right?
The point is what's the moral of the story is don't be a hater. Okay, it doesn't pay to be a hater. I have no interest in starting shit or talking shit. But in that case, that person, he had it coming.
Yeah. How much more time do you got for me?
I'm chill, bro. I'm chill.
All right. I won't take up more than 2 hours of your time because we're at the 90-minute mark. So let's do another 20 minutes. Yeah. Man, what else can we cover? I like this conversation. This is a good one. What is it okay, so let me ask you this question. If you could have a dinner with any historical individual, less a family member, like your dad or grandfather, something like that. If you could have a scheduled dinner with any historical person, who would you have dinner with?
You know what? The person that's coming to mind right now is Bruce Lee. He's not like a historical figure, obviously, but I guess he's no
longer alive. Like
longer alive. Actually, he's no longer alive. Yeah. Historical figure. Actually, hard for me to say, but like I just remember being very, very fascinated with Bruce Lee as a teenager.
You
And
think that Bruce Lee would be impressed with your physique? I would
uh,
say so.
yeah, yeah. You know
Yeah.
what? I think he'd be impressed. I think he cared a lot about like real strength, like strength with body weight, one arm chin ups, one arm push ups, and being very
Those are
very
incredibly hard to do, dude. Like I saw you
yeah.
doing one arm chin ups. Like I was still going to the gym before the COVID lockdown. I'm like, fuck, if that Greg guy can do it, I'm gonna try it. And I tried it for a good year. Like I literally tried it on one of those assisted, machines where you put the plates on to help you.
Yeah.
And I figured, okay, well, if I just drop a plate like every week or two, then I'll get down to just body weight and just my arm. The only way that I could get close if I held my forearm like this, and that's how guys cheat, right? Like I've seen guys do it like this. It's
Yeah.
very hard to do a one arm chin up.
You know what? That machine won't help you get there.
It didn't.
It didn't. Yeah.
I'm probably too old for that shit. Like I have a lot. Like I'm 210 pounds. Like
yeah.
I need a lot of power to lift that weight.
Yeah, if you're 210, it's gonna be an uphill battle. I don't do them often because it is a joint, like golfer's elbow nightmare.
Okay.
But the clearest path, and I've had people in my program achieve it, especially the body weight track of a movie star. But like the clearest path is get to the point where you're doing weighted chin-ups with 75% of your body weight for 3-4 reps. So if you're 200 pounds, that's like 150 weighted for a triple for 3. And at that point, you pretty much have the strength to do it. And then all you have to do is really spend 1 to 2 months working on one arm chin-ups, but you put a towel around the bar and you hold the towel here and you kind of just do one arm chin-ups and you just do 2 sets of 2. And you try and use as little of the towel as possible. It's not about doing sets of 6 or 8. Just do 2 and hold it. And if you do that for a month or 2, when you already have that pulling strength, you will hit it.
But have you seen anybody my age or older hit it, like, with a one arm chin up?
No, on it. And you know what? Honestly, it's one of those things where it's like, it's like you're probably better off just getting strong on the weighted chin ups, maybe doing some towel stuff, and then if you want to go for one arm chin up once, but if you're trying to do weekly like one arm chin ups, you're gonna tear your elbows apart.
Yeah. Okay.
It's so much stress on the elbow. It's so much. But again, the point of the one arm chin up is basically it's like the most insane display of strength to body weight. The ability to lift your body up with one arm is just like peak strength.
You know what, dude? Like I tell guys all the time, when it comes to physical strength, I'm like, if you can get to the point where you can do 10 chin-ups, 30 push-ups, and skip rope for like 2 minutes straight, you're basically in the top 5% of guys, when it comes to physical capability. Because a lot of guys can't even do like a couple of chin-ups.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Those are solid metrics. Even 10 pull-ups, 10, 12 pull-ups is solid level of fitness. And I like to program more the feet elevated. You can do like 20, 30 push-ups with your feet up because it really builds more of that upper chest a bit more. Awesome.
Talk about fighting, because you've got this thing in your backyard, a bob. I think I don't know if they're coined bob by the manufacturer, if it's just because you called him Bob. Like how did it come around that way? Because now it's known everywhere as Bob, from what I've seen. Like people just call it Bob now.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, I think like when I was a kid, I think that someone had it, and
so I can show you guys what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think it's coined Bob, but I don't know. Maybe that was sort of like a little known thing, and because I've been calling it Bob, now it's Bob everywhere.
You just beat the shit out of this thing.
Is it called a Bob?
Here, let me share it.
It is Century Bob Body Opponent.
Is that what they're called?
I think one of the brand. I don't even. Maybe that brand changed the name to Bob. I'm not sure that the history.
You got 2 of them. Why did one of them break, or?
Sorry.
You got 2 of them. Did one of them break on you or something?
You know what? I've had some of them kind of the screws get degraded over time, but I actually was like, you know what, this Bob thing is catching on. What if I punch 2 Bobs at the same time? It's probably gonna catch on more.
How are they different from heavy bags?
So I've had a heavy bag and I've trained on a heavy bag. I had a friend of mine, mentor of mine, I think when I was 22, 23, he told me, he was like, dude, like, get a Bob. And I was like, really? Like this Bob thing? I'm like, those are those things in those like karate, like bullshit dojos. And he's like, no, he's like, literally, it is one of the best things to train on. Punching the bob, it will do more for you in a real fight, like with your hands, than anything else, than the focus mitts, than the heavy bag. And I have noticed that, like, if you're punching the bob, 5-10 minutes, a few days a week, like at first you're hitting it, and even like if you've done boxing training, you hit the heavy bag and stuff, you hit like it you still are fine tuning things. And like a heavy bag's right here, you kind of like whether you hit it here, it doesn't make too much of a difference. Whereas like when you're hitting the bob, here's his head, his chin's right here, and so your accuracy has to be kind of more laser focused. And if you're kind of moving around, jumping, hitting him, his head's moving back, and is
it molded to have like the same level of like impact as what you would with like somebody's chin, like the skull and the meat and all that sort of thing, or is it just kind of floppy?
If you fucking if the temperature is like cold and you bring him outside, it feels like hitting
like hard rubber, right?
It feels like hitting like if when it's cold and it's hard, it's like it's pretty unforgiving. But I'd say normally, like in the summer or whatever, it's warm out, it does have a nice little give, so it's not as hard as hitting someone. But even like if you punch someone and you land correctly, it doesn't hurt the hand that much. Like you hear about guys breaking their hands, but like if you hit the right angle, the right time, and it.
How did you get into boxing? Like, why did you decide to take that up?
Yeah, so it's like, I guess circling back to the beginning, like my initial desire for fitness was more out of being strong and powerful than looking good for chicks. And part of being strong and powerful was knowing how to throw a punch and knowing how to fight. And I think I got into some boxing and martial arts from 14 to 17. Mm-hmm. And I did a little boxing. I trained with a martial art instructor that was trained in Jeet Kune Do and proficient in grappling. And then I joined a BJJ gym, and I kind of trained in those kind of three elements. And I like just the idea of, I like the idea of knowing how to fight. I mean, when I was a kid, my older brother and I got into like conflict, like I got my ass kicked. I didn't like that. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to know how to fight. And also like when you're, if you have to defend yourself, you're fighting and you get beat up, whatever, it's just like, you don't want that. So I always wanted to know how to fight. And I found like in a real life situation, the problem with a lot of martial arts, man, is that like they try and teach you way too many different techniques and moves and fancy stuff. And it's just like when I was in university, and like maybe 10 or 15% of the stuff I'm learning has utility. I found that with a lot of martial arts, it's like I had to kind of stop and just kind of in my head, I was like, what am I doing here? Like if someone if I'm out and I get attacked, never in a gazillion years am I gonna fucking do this thing, and then mm-hmm. like it's not gonna happen. And so what I kind of gravitated towards is literally learn how to punch, like learn jab cross, learn footwork, learn how to move, learn where to keep your hands and block, learn some clinch work, elbows and stuff, and knees, and a little bit of wrestling and grappling, and get as strong and powerful as possible. And punch Bob, literally punch Bob, because there is in a real fight situation, it's not going to look like a boxing match. It's not even going to look like an MMA fight where you can kind of pick your punches, jump in, jump out, move around, come in, exchange, and get out. A real fight is just, it's like kind of two animals fucking locking heads. It's like once it's on, it's on. There's no.
Have you been in many real fights?
I've been in at least 5. I think there might have been a 6th one, but I've been in a few fights. Most of the time I was drunk, and most of the time I was at bars, and it's been pretty exhilarating. And the one thing I'll say is like when a real fight, like once it's on, you don't feel anything. Like I was at a club in Toronto one night. And I was very drunk, and I was with this girl that recognized, like this girl that I knew. She saw me, and I lifted her up. I spun her around, And when I spun around, I did not realize that her heel hit someone in the face. I had no idea. And so I put her down, and all of a sudden this guy was fucking charging at me, fucking grabbing me. And I was like, in my head, I'm like, oh, here we go. And I throw him off and I punch him, and then we both get pulled back. And it's just like a switch went off my head where I'm like, this is not over. And like people holding back, I throw them off, and like he's coming at me too. Like, and so me and him start, and he had his friends there trying to break it up. And so I throw my people at my table back, and me and him are going at it. But now his friends are going, like his friends were initially trying to break it up, but when they see us going at it and he's about to go down, then I have like 3 guys punching me, and there's 3 guys in front of me, and and basically point is in this story, like there's no fancy moves. It's basically being in the right position and just throwing those hands, and you're gonna get hit. You're not gonna do a street fight, especially if like it's very like you're gonna get hit. But and then basically the bouncers came in, and it was all good. And I just remember like at one point I was literally had 3 guys hitting me, and I was fucking just right there, and I didn't feel anything. I remember
feel the next day though.
Yeah. So I was like, when I left the club, I was like, how the fuck did I not get hit? Like, I was insane. I was like, what the hell did I do? I didn't get hit. And then I woke up and I went like this, and like every bone in my fucking face was hurting. I was like, oh no, I got fucking hit. But I didn't get like, I didn't take like I didn't take one of those like big fucking shots. It was just kind of grazes.
Yeah. But would you recommend to guys to learn how to fight?
Absolutely. Yeah. You know what? I think it is in life as a man, you are going to have those moments where not the moment I just described, that was stupid. Obviously I was drunk and that happened, but, I didn't know what happened. Like, but basically like someone's charging me, so I have to defend myself. But in life, like as a man, you are going to have those moments where, you have to know deep down that if this escalates and becomes a physical confrontation, that you can handle yourself. If you don't have, it's like going through life playing poker with a freaking 2 and a 7 or whatever. It's like, man, if shit hits the fan, you got to fucking pop down your 2-7. I'd rather go through life with fucking pocket aces, where absolutely you do not want physical contact. You don't want to fight. You want to avoid fight at all costs. The risk is high. The risk is high is if fuck, man, you get hit and you fall down, you hit your head, you're dead, or their friends come from behind you, or you hit them and they're hurt. It's the cost of combat is very, very high. But again, like if someone's going to attack you, you don't have a choice. And if you have to defend yourself or a loved one, you don't have a choice. So you want to feel competent, you want to feel confident. And I've had that moment even at a nightclub when I was at a table, I was with a girl and I was sort of into her, whatever. And then, some guy, like when I'm not paying attention, some guy comes behind and starts chatting her up. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like let them have their thing. And then I was like, at that point, I was like, it was time for him to walk away and go away. And I kind of engaged. I was like, hey, what's up? And then he's like, is this your girlfriend? I was like, it's not my girlfriend. I'm like, no. And he kind of kept chatting, trying to stay in there. And I was just like, and he kind of got a little disrespectful. And I was just like, buddy, fuck off. And then he waited for 5 seconds. He looked in my eyes, and my eyes said, like, I will fucking rip your head off, dude. Like, get the fuck out of here. And then he walked away. But like, if I had no idea how to fight and I was scared about getting in a fight, like I probably couldn't say that with fucking conviction.
How did she respond to that position with him?
The guy was actually good looking. Like he was cool. He probably gets lots of girls. After and in those situations, like you do feel like your heart kind of jumps a little bit. But because like any time there's potentially something's going to escalate, your adrenaline response system's going to kick in. She was so normal and chill. Like after I asked her, I was like, that was pretty intense. She was like, yeah, like I think she was turned on a little bit. I think she was turned on.
Definitely. There's a study that I think Google engineers did at one time. And I think, it's been quoted a few different places. I also put it in one of the chapters of my book as well. But they found that women's search habits online for stuff that they're attracted to, I think it was tied into porn, if I'm not mistaken, were things around surgeon, billionaire, werewolf, vampire, pirate. I can't remember what the other one was, but basically like men that like speak softly and carry a big stick, right? Like, you've got to be dangerous as a guy, but you have to have a level of civility about you, right? Like, women want to be with a guy that knows how to fuck up shit, basically. So, you know, if shit hits the fan, they want to know that you've got the competency skills. And that's why knowing how to fight and learning hand-to-hand combat is a useful skill, right? Because, I mean, you know, it's probably going to come into play at some point or another, right? Like, you don't have to do it. I mean, don't do it if you don't want to. I mean, you know, drink your soy and, you know, play video games and do nothing with your life if you want, but I say do it.
And you know what the funny thing is that a lot of times the guys that run their mouth and like are disrespectful actually don't know how to fight.
Yeah.
Like they overcompensate. Like guys that usually know how to fight and can handle themselves, and you know, even really big dudes, they don't pick fights. Yeah, they don't pick fights. They don't start shit. It's the guys that that don't know how to fight that will have like I've literally had a situation where I had 3 fucking frat guys trying to get tough on me, and I fucking made them my bitches. Like literally, they're like it's a cool story, but basically when I was younger, I got pulled in. Someone recognized me, pulled me into this frat party. I was with a friend of mine who looked a lot older than me, and these fucking assholes just fucking like didn't even just say, "Hey, can you leave?" They were like fucking pushing him, kicking him. I didn't even know this at the time, but he just texted me, "Hey, come outside." And these 3 guys were fucking frat guys, were hopped up, and they're like, "Hey, they're like, oh, that's your friend. Get the fuck out of here. And I was like, dude, I got invited here. I don't even want to be here. I will leave, but ask nicely. And there's 3 of them, and then 2 of them got right in my face, and I just fucking exploded. Hit them just once, and then these guys were beating up my friend, literally like kicking him, like attacking him. And when I fucking hit him once each, just hit boom, boom, and then the 3rd guy was kind of more standoffish and backed off, so I didn't do anything. And then their tune changed from fucking being tough guys, get the fuck out of here, and they were saying really offensive slurs, really offensive words, and their whole tune changed from "get the fuck out of here." 3 of them to, "Man, why'd you hit me, man? Oh, you know, my God, warrior!" Like fucking bitches, like, you know. But again, if you're gonna have to defend yourself, you have to know like the right necessary force.
Yeah.
I took one push, 2 punches, and they were completely like they backed down, and you know, hopefully they learn their lesson. But like, you get in trouble if you and I told, like, look, here's my real. You treat me well, I'll treat you well. I say, hey, ask me nicely. It's not even that he just didn't ask me nicely. When I said that, he just got right into my face. Like, look, I am gonna defend myself, and I know that if someone enters my space, gets that close, they could easily, without me having time to react, elbow me, fucking choke me, do anything. So like, if you enter my space, not just
that though. I mean, like, they could have a weapon. They could have a shiv, a knife, or something like that when they're that close to you.
Yeah, they could have a weapon. They could have a knife. They could, and they already look like they're a little bit like fucking screws loose. And so once they're in my space, I'm gonna assume the worst. I'm gonna think like something's going down. And this is like the problem. A lot of people, they don't have this sort of like mentality. Like, I see 2 guys chest bumping each other, fighting. It's like, dude, this guy could just elbow you and you're done, and stomp on your head and you're dead in a second. So if someone enters my space, I am fucking gonna fucking snap. Like, I'm fucking just here. And that's what having a bob is really good for. If you have a bob, it's like you can stand right in front of it, okay? And imagine things are getting heated and stay calm. And then in a split second, you have to fucking create that fucking rage. And in real combat, what I've noticed is that like it's not like jab, cross, hook here. It's like it just fucking go. Like you it's all out. I think Paul Vunak, he was like a Jeet Kune Do practitioner, but he trained a lot of like the Navy SEALs, and he would train them to like kind of, okay, they're in this like, you know, traditional fighting stance, and then a split second they go into like rage mode and they just go insane. Punches, elbows, knees. And that's what I try and mimic with Bob, where I'll be training with him, and then the stuff that goes viral is just me like fucking like, you know,
just raging on it. Yeah,
this guy. But
Yeah,
I
I
think,
started out with Krav Maga and then I switched over to boxing. I mean, Krav's a good skill for disarming guns and knives and stuff like that, but I think that boxing's probably a lot more useful in the real world.
yeah, I think,
Um,
yeah,
let's grab
boxing.
these. Grab these super chats here. Nick looks like he's been in your program. 173 pounds, 20% body fat to 144, 11% body fat. That's a pretty good improvement.
Yeah, you cut 9% body fats.
To Greg, what's it like being an aesthetic boss since the age of 15? What lessons do you learn having the genetic edge with the discipline over most for so long at this point?
What lessons do you have? What lessons do you learn having the genetic edge with the discipline over the most?
Do you think that you have a genetic edge over other guys?
Let me think about this. You
Like, are
know
you
what?
genetically gifted? I mean, did you grow muscle very, very quickly, like faster than the average dude, or did you have to work
Um,
for it?
yeah, I would say I am genetically gifted for strength. I'm very few men, even if they train correctly and right, like a small subset of men are going to be able to incline press 275 for five
Mhm.
at under 10% body fat. If you like the thing I'll say though is that like there's guys that look skinny fat or a bit chubby and they think they have bad genetics, but that's when they're doing everything wrong. Genetics don't determine how you look when you're doing everything wrong. It determines how fast you respond when you're doing things right. So I've seen guys that like you would assume had terrible genetics. They start following my nutrition training protocol and they make insanely fast results. But you know what? As a kid, even in high school, like when we did gym tests and stuff, like obviously I worked very, very hard and I was very into it. And but like I was always like the top in the class in gym class in chin-ups and push-ups. I like as a teenager, like I wasn't obviously the biggest, but
Mhm.
I definitely destroyed in fitness tests. So I definitely genetic wise I am, but you know what's funny is actually I was more geared towards like running. Like I did very well at distance running, not as much on sprinting, but I've morphed my body to become more like explosive and powerful. Because
Mhm.
that's what I
Did you
focused
ever
on.
follow like any of the old school bodybuilders like Tom Platz?
Um, I didn't really follow. Like I kind of got
Because I
in.
mean, like Platz was known for like massive legs. He had retarded legs. Like they were out of proportion to his upper body. And one of the things that he used to talk about was doing explosive sprints. Like he would do like 50-meter sprints, but like 100% power all the time.
Damn, no, Plants was a legend. You know what? I don't think there's a harder leg workout in the world or any workout in the world than probably doing a Platts leg workout. Like if you're doing repping, I don't know, he probably was doing 500 pounds for 20, 30 reps of squats. It's pure torture.
Yeah, they were
Uh,
big boys.
but I followed some Vince Gironda stuff and some of those guys. But no one really, I was actually really into this guy named Ross Enemy who's a strength and conditioning coach for fighters, and he's in like insane shape. Is in like literally insane shape with strength and stuff. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Got it. All right, well, let's say goodbye to everybody. Where should people find you if they want to get more of your information stuff,
Yeah,
programs, stuff, all that?
I'd say the best place to connect with me is going to be on Instagram, and that's at Grego Gallagher, my name, Greg Ogallagher. And then as well, my website, kinobody.com. Those are the two places to check out. But I'm most active and engaged on Instagram, and you can find all my stuff there. I got my programs and supplements and the clothing.
Cool. All right, brother. Thanks for joining me today. Don't go anywhere. I want to talk to you after the show.
Yeah.
Guys, hit the like button, and we'll see you in the next show.